Landlords in one California county are suing over a law that would prevent them from evicting any tenant in the county for any reason. I'm Tony, and this is Real Estate Investing and Landlord News. Alright, so I have an interesting article for you today, and it's going over a topic that I've covered a lot, and that's the eviction moratoriums, okay? So, once again, we're going out to the state of California where there are still some local eviction moratoriums in place, and obviously, we want to see them all thrown out. So landlords out there, they are suing once again over these local eviction moratoriums. And I don't blame them. I mean, honestly, you have to do what you have to do. And they keep on implementing them. They keep on extending them. And sometimes it looks like they might never end unless they get thrown out by the courts. And that's exactly what I want to see happen. I want them to get thrown out by the courts, declared unconstitutional, and I want landlords to be able to get compensation for all of that rental income that they lost due to them, okay? So yeah, if you have to take this to the courts, do it. And it's one of those things where, hey, our property rights are being trampled on by local and state jurisdictions that think that, hey, these people, they're rich, they can handle it, they can just pay for other people to live in their property and never get paid. Yeah, well, that's ridiculous, okay? That is absolutely ridiculous. So, yeah, I am 100% in support of these landlords for fighting against these ridiculous laws, okay? So, before I get into the article, go ahead, hit the like and subscribe button. Maybe leave a comment down below. And let me know what you want to see on this channel, okay? I'm still working to bring you articles about the eviction moratorium, rental assistance programs, rent control, anything that might be of interest to landlords, okay? So, this article is coming from PleasantonWeekly.com, and it says, Landlord Group sues over Alameda County's eviction moratorium. Wow, 2+ years after the beginning of the pandemic, and there are still eviction moratoriums going on. The CDC eviction moratorium was ended in August of 2021, so we're almost a year past that, and we still have eviction moratoriums going on. I can't believe that it's been dragged out this long. But anyway, let's get into this article because, I think I think it's ridiculous, okay? And let's get into it and see what it says. The California Apartment Association filed a federal lawsuit Thursday over Alameda County's COVID-related eviction moratorium. Together with a group of 5 Alameda County landlords, the CAA is asking the court to issue preliminary and permanent injunctions to prevent enforcement of the county's eviction moratorium. The suit alleges the moratorium violates the Fifth Amendment of the U.S. Constitution, as well as Article 1 of the California Constitution, which both prohibit the government from taking private property without just compensation. All right, so I like this from the get-go, okay? They are saying, hey, this is a Fifth Amendment violation. That's the one argument that I don't think this thing can get past, okay? It's a, unconstitutional taking of private property for public use without just compensation. So in that kind of situation, I mean, plain text reading, private property, that is my house. Okay, for public use. That means you are letting the public use my property. You're letting this tenant, who is a member of the public, use my property without just compensation, okay? Because guess what? The rental assistance programs, they are not guaranteed to a landlord. That is one thing that they never mentioned. The rental assistance programs, they were limited to people who met certain income thresholds, but at the same time, the eviction moratorium protected almost everyone. So the eviction moratorium protects a whole bunch of people who aren't eligible for rental assistance. So that means automatically we're in a situation where we have landlords who are having their property taken from them unconstitutionally without being compensated. I mean, it seems pretty obvious to me. Okay, I'm not a lawyer, but I can read plain, simple English, and it seems like the politicians out there in California can't do that. But oddly enough, there actually is a part of the California Constitution that says the exact same thing. Yet none of these laws have been thrown out. Have you noticed that? I mean, I've brought up articles about multiple different landlord groups suing different counties, different, cities, and the state of California itself. And almost in every single case, those cases get thrown out. And I don't doubt for 1 second this case will probably get thrown out by the judge as well. So they'll have to push it up to, the Court of Appeals, right? And the Court of Appeals will probably throw it out as well. And then finally, hopefully, they get pushed all the way up to the Supreme Court. And that's what I'm hoping for, because the Supreme Court can trump all those lower courts, can trump those, very left-leaning progressive courts out in California, and make this the law of the land that these eviction moratoriums are 100% illegal, okay? The rules prevent landlords from evicting any renter in the county, including the incorporated parts of the county, for virtually any reason, with few exceptions, according to the suit, which was filed in U.S. District Court for the Northern District of California. The suit also alleges the moratorium unconstitutionally impairs contracts and violates the right to due process. It also claims the county is in violation of the state's Ellis Act, which allows landlords to remove property from the rental market. The Alameda County Board of Supervisors voted to enact the eviction moratorium in April 2020 after both Governor Gavin Newsom and the county declared a state of emergency over rising COVID-19 cases. At the time, the entire state was under stay-at-home orders. Schools were suspending in-person instruction and switching to remote learning. Childcare businesses were closing, and many sheriff's departments, including in Alameda County, had temporarily stopped enforcing evictions. So yeah, at the time when they implemented this, it was almost understandable. But you can't cancel the Constitution now just because there is a pandemic going on, okay? You don't say, well, no, you don't have freedom of speech anymore. But, it seems like they decided they wanted to cancel the freedom of speech. They didn't want people talking. They wanted to cancel the freedom of religion. They wanted to cancel, people's property rights. I mean, it seems like they did want to cancel the Constitution because of this whole pandemic. That's why this whole thing is scary, okay? I mean, they thought that they could just do anything they wanted to do, basically become this totalitarian-like government and, completely control your lives and then implement a system to me which looks a lot like communism, okay? So that's why I'm so scared. That's why I'm so opposed to all of this eviction moratorium nonsense. So let me see here. It says, the lawsuit's plaintiffs are listed as the CAA, Stephen Lynn, Rakesh Jain, Tripti Jain, and H. Alex Alvarez and Danny Alvarez, Allison Mitchell, and Michael Haggerty, all landlords with units in the county. The suit includes allegations from the property owners that, among other things, detail instances of unpaid rent, damaged property, unauthorized pets, and unpermitted modifications to units, all of which could have been grounds for initiating an eviction process prior to the pandemic. In addition to suffering losses amounting to hundreds of thousands of dollars in unpaid rent, these owners' stories also showcase how the county's one-sided policy has caused real, lasting harm to property owners, CAA attorney Whitney Prout said in a news release Thursday. The eviction moratorium is set to end 60 days after the county's COVID-19 emergency health order expires, but it's unclear when the Board of Supervisors might discuss ending the order. Yeah, they're probably going to keep that order in place forever. Okay? I mean, maybe not actually forever, but way longer than when most of the issues with the pandemic have already been resolved and taken care of. I mean, we're already to the point where, the mask mandates are over. A lot of places that were trying to put vaccination mandates in place, they've just given up, okay? We can get on an airplane once again without wearing a ridiculous mask, okay? This stuff is over. The stay-at-home orders, the shutdowns, all that is done, okay? The economy has mostly come back. Of course, we're facing different issues now, as I mentioned before, with all the inflation, war going on in Ukraine, there's other issues going on right now, but the issues caused by the COVID-19 pandemic and the associated lockdowns, that stuff is done. So they need to end this emergency order, and they're not doing it. Why? Because they have these socialist ideas in their mind that, hey, we're going to prevent landlords from, evicting tenants, and we're going to let people stay forever. And, I don't know if they actually have good intentions or if they're just power hungry. Honestly, at this point, I think that they're just crazy, okay? Because no one with any amount of common sense would think, hey, landlords can survive forever without getting any rent payments, or think that, hey, tenants should never ever have to pay rent ever again, or the government can pay the tenants rent. Hey, the money has to come from somewhere, okay? The money has to come from somewhere. There's not enough money to be able to keep paying for other people to live in someone's property forever, okay? So yeah, I'm good for these landlords for suing. I hope this whole thing gets thrown out. I hope every eviction moratorium that's left across this country gets thrown out, and I hope that the Supreme Court says they can never, ever implement this sort of thing again.